Hello and welcome. In this session, we're going to talk about task 3 for 10 marks. This is question number 3 from the internal control and system paper. And of course, like this paper have 5 questions, and previously we have talked about question number 1 and 2. So in this session, we're going to talk about question number 3 for 10 marks. So let's have a look what we have here. Question number 3 will be a little bit straightforward, and we have only 10 marks, so we don't have to write anything. We have to either choose the drop down from the list, or we have to find the true and false answer, or sometimes they will give us to find the right answer. So we really don't have to write anything. We just need to find the right answer from the answer we have in the list. So let's read the question. So you can see here, it says this task is about effectiveness of internal control. Now the word effectiveness is very important to understand. Effectiveness is after putting the internal control in place. So question number 2 or task 2 we have seen, we introduce the internal control and we have seen how the internal control helped to prevent the fraud. But in this question we're going to look at after putting the internal control, what is the effectiveness of that? So let's read this question. It's having recently completed your studies, you know that you have an extensive knowledge of internal controls and the benefit of a robust system. Having reviewed the current system, you have been asked a number of questions by Mark Tyson, General Accounts Clerk and the cashier. He wants to check that he fully understands what internal control are and how they work. He has asked you to check that the internal control he is suggesting are suitable for the purpose that he identified. So we understand every single internal control is not suitable for every single purpose. So they have given some purpose to us and we need to identify, is it the right internal control for that or not? Okay, let's have a look. The first one was said dividing accounting responsibilities so that the same person do not authorize and pay invoice. So same person do not authorize and pay invoice. This is a very link with the segregation of duty. We called it segregation of duties. Segregation of duties means one person should not be in charge or one person should not be responsible for the same job. For example, if one person is responsible for the purchase department and if he order everything for the company, and if the same person is responsible for authorizing the invoice or making the payment, so he can order anything he like for his personal purpose, and also like he can authorize it because in the middle there is no one to check. And for that reason we have to put the segregation of duties, that is internal control, that will be suitable for that one. But for the compliance purpose it is not the suitable one. So for the compliance it will not help. So we'll say is the internal control suitable? We'll say no. So from the drop down we'll say no, because this one will not help. So the question here is dividing the accounting responsibility so that the same person does not authorize and pay an invoice. So this will not help, because where the person authorize the invoice, he can pay as well, it's not a problem, but we need to look at the person who is ordering, he's not authorized the invoice and make the payment. So one person should be responsible for ordering or making the purchase, and another person should be responsible to check the invoice and make the payment. But it is okay if one person just like check the invoice and pay. So this is okay. Same person does not authorize and pay the invoice. So one person can authorize the invoice and pay, is not a problem, but the person should not make the order and authorize the invoice. So this compliance purpose will not work, because here the person is only checking and the pay for that. So is the internal control suitable? We'll say no. The next one is says all inventory must be kept in a warehouse with a key code on the door. The key code is changed every 6 months or if a member of his staff leave. So if someone left the job, we need to change the key code. That's reasonable because if the person is changed, he knows the key code. So when we have a new employee, because of the old employee left or the previous employee left, we should change the keypad because the old employee or the previous employee will not know it. For that reason, safeguard the asset. And of course, like if we do that, we will safeguard the asset, we'll protect the asset. And this one will say yes. To safeguard the asset, this will be the right internal control. The next one we have here, complete regular cash and bank reconciliation. Complete regular cash and the bank reconciliation is very important to do the bank reconciliation on a regular basis, because if we don't do that, what will happen, the amount of work will be really high. For example, if you do the bank reconciliation every week or every month, it's gonna be easier rather than do the bank reconciliation just once in a year. So there will be a lot of transaction and we have to see every single money in or out, and the bank has to be reconciled. The meaning of the bank reconciliation is the bank has to be matched with our record. So we have a cash book and the bank have a bank statement, so our record and the bank statement has to be matched. So if we do regularly, that is definitely helpful. So ensure quality internal and external reporting. So it will ensure the quality internal and the external reporting. So without having the bank reconciliation, we cannot have a very good quality reporting, and this is true. If we do that, it will help to have a quality internal and external reporting. The next one we have here, complete monthly backup of data to an offsite server. So offsite server means somewhere else, for example on the Dropbox or on the cloud accounting. So we save the data there. So the reason we save the data in the cloud or somewhere outside of the server, so that if something happen or if there is a crash on the hard drive of the server, we do not lose the data. That's the reason we save backup on offsite server. And the purpose here is says prevent and detect the fraud. Remember that we keep the backup on the hard drive or we keep the backup in the computer or in the cloud or in the Dropbox. It will not prevent or detect the fraud because it's just a backup. It will not prevent or detect the fraud. We'll say it is not the right purpose, it is not the right control for this purpose. We'll say no. So you have 4. So that's quite straightforward. The first one is dividing accounting responsibilities so that same person does not authorize and pay invoice. So we give responsibility one person to authorize, another person to pay, but it will not actually help for the compliance because the person who checked the invoice, he can pay as well. So it's not a problem. The problem is when the person is authorized to order and check invoice and pay. So here we'll say no. This one will be yes, yes, and no, and that's it. All right, let's move to the next one. The next one we have here, okay. It says, as an organization that supply low energy lighting equipment and supplies, E-Limited is keen to develop and maintain a reputation of ethical behavior. Following a review of finance department, it has been identified that some of the system in place do not promote ethical behavior. So when the question will come from the ethical behavior, remember that one question will be definitely in the exam from ethics, and ethical behavior is one of the important one. So here all you have to look like what is fair for everyone. So if you look at the question and the scenario or the improvement, you need to look at, is it fair? If you think it is fair, then of course like it will improve or promote the ethical behavior. But if you think it is not fair, then we'll say it would not promote the ethical behavior. So the question here is we are looking at either it would promote or not promote the ethical behavior. So system do not promote ethical behavior. So it has identified that some of the system in place, so we have some of the system in place do not promote ethical behavior. So it is almost every organization, they have few policy and procedure or system that basically doesn't look like fair, and if it is not fair, it will not promote the ethical behavior for that organization. So let's have a look. You have been presented with the following improvement to the system to address this. So you have been presented the following improvement, so you're offering the following improvement to address the issues. Identify which of the following would promote ethical behavior with an organization. So which one would promote ethical behavior? So we need to look for that, which one would promote and which one would not. So let's look at that few improvement. If we do that, so for example, if we say we change the system from this to this, and it will help to promote the ethical behavior or it will not help. So we're looking at all this improvement or the new system. So the first one is says introduce car parking space that are for staff who participate in a company car share scheme. This is look like very fair. So we only offer the car space if you are participating with the company car share scheme. So for example, the pool car, where so many employees together, they use the same car to go different destination. For example, if the company have a meeting, rather than 5 employees take 5 car, they can use 1 car. So that is more ethical, more fair. And if you offer the free car space for those people who are willing to share or participate with the company car share scheme, so that look like more fair, like they deserve the car parking than who try to go by themselves. So we'll say it would promote, it will definitely promote the ethical behavior. The next one, it says introduce a policy that all staff need to share their password. That will not definitely promote, because all staff need to share their password with the departmental manager to ensure that all data can be accessed at all the time. So they will not be comfortable, and it is not ethical policy, because the departmental manager will have the access to all the confidential data to everyone, or maybe it is not like the right way to deal with that, because when someone have a specific job, it is possible like they only want to report based on the organizational requirement. So if you making a new policy, like every staff have to share their password, so maybe someone use their login and they do something wrong, and but they will not accept it like they did it. Maybe someone did by themselves, and of course that will not give the good impression for the employee. Or maybe the employee done something and they will say like, oh, I give my password to you and I don't know who did it. So this will not promote the ethical behavior. The next one we have here, ensure that all new starter sign a confidentiality agreement. That's definitely promote the ethical behavior, because we do not share the confidential information with anyone unless it is required by law or it is necessary, or without the permission or the consent of the employee. So every single employee, when they join the organization, they should sign a confidential agreement. So they should not share the confidential information about the company to anyone else, and the company will not share their personal information to anyone else. Maintain annual CPD. CPD represent the continuous professional development. When you will be AAT member, or when you become the ACCA or ICW member, it is mandatory for every single member to complete the annual CPD. So maintain annual CPD records and review a part of the annual appraisal process. So if we see how many of the employee complete their CPD and how many of the employee done the proper training or they keep themselves up to date. So that is definitely will be part of your performance appraisal, and if this is the part, that will be definitely improve the or promote the ethical behavior. Because if someone done everything, they expect like, okay, this will be part of my appraisal as well, because I have learned so many new things through the CPD, I have done a lot of training, so that should be appreciated by the company. So if the company do that, then they will feel like more fair, and that will promote the ethical behavior. Remove the provision of company car from the employee contract of employment to minimize the tax payment. This is definitely unethical. You cannot do anything to pay the less tax, so definitely this will not promote the ethical behavior. Ensure that all staff are given a copy of the disciplinary process as part of their induction. So this is definitely promote, because everyone will know what to do. So when you join in a company, they will know the disciplinary process, so they will know the steps and the policy of the company, so they will be aware of how the disciplinary process work if they do something wrong, and what sort of disciplinary action can taken by the company. So it should be tell at the beginning, not after happening something. So that's it. All right, so this is the end of the question number 3. So hopefully on the next session we're going to talk about question number 4. Thank you very much.